Hi everyone, no major news today, so let's get straight into the data. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. Looking at the Fear and Greed Index here, you can see we stepped down to a 44 from a 55. Still seeing extreme greed and extreme fear on the indicators, really no changes here today. We did see junk bond demand take a pretty strong surge into extreme fear, but at the same time we're seeing greed on safe haven demand, so mixed markets still, which is interesting considering the massive rallies that we've seen over the last 2 days. Moving over to seasonality, you can see this bullish period that we're in. Seems like we're getting a regular year and not an election year. So we'll see if that continues to play out. Based on this chart, we see bullishness up until the 18th. Moving over to the economic calendar, you can see continuing jobless claims and initial jobless claims both coming in worse than expected. ADP non-farms also worse than expected. So weakness in the jobs market. We've been seeing that over the past couple of weeks and months with the non-farms data. And then looking at these economic factors, global services PMI better than expected and composite PMI better than expected. So mixed on the economic factors as well. Makes sense why we're seeing that on the major indicators, but non-manufacturing PMI well below the 50 mark. That's interesting. And non-manufacturing employment also well below the 50 mark. Moving over to max pain, really not a lot of changes here. 551 is the current price. You can see call wall 550, now at 553. I don't think we're going to get a finish at these levels, so we should see a little bit of a dip into the Friday just because of extension or maybe a pullback in time. We'll see how it plays, but we are at these upper levels based on what max pain is telling us about this week's options expiration. Moving over to the charts, just a short trading session for the day. You can see only 4 hours of trading, and it was straight up throughout the session. After hours price action, pullback in time. Momentum, massive. Volume, massive. Lots of buying happening. You can see we broke this trend line here. Next trend line's up around 557. Momentum continuing to swing to bullish. Overbought conditions. Everything looks super bullish with the push that we saw today. And then looking at the Tasty charts here just for a moment, you can see that upper ATR band is 552.59. That is the current price target. So again, just about $1.50 higher from current prices. We'll see if we can get there. The close was 551.14, so seems like we're going to touch that in the next trading session, and then we'll see if we get any pullbacks from there. That is how it played last time. Touched it, pulled back a little bit, touched it again, and then you can see it push down towards that lowest ATR band. So probably going to see a pullback at some point relatively close to that level. Moving over to the NASDAQ, similar thesis, straight up throughout the session, 4 bullish candles on the hourly chart. Huge volume again on that last push, starting to see just a smidgen of selling after hours. Upper trend line resistance is at 492.95. We'll see if we get to that level. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish, but overbought, so same thesis as the SPY really, but a very strong candle. You can see they're stacked on top of each other, closed on the high. Everything looks bullish. And then looking at that Tasty chart, same thesis, upper ATR band, 490.76, touched that level. We're actually at that level or a little bit above it here at the close at 491.04, so we're right at that level. It can trend up slowly, but I don't necessarily think that we're going to get another big push up above this upper ATR. Usually it just is a slow grinding price action if we stay at that level. But again, just like the SPY, you can see that pullback to the lowest ATR band after touching that upper. Can do this for a while, a couple of days at this level, but eventually you do get that pullback, and you can see it gave back all of that grinding price action on that pullback. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, the Russell was down 0.02 or just 5 cents on the day. It's still hovering right in the same range, so no change to the thesis. Still waiting to see another step higher. It is currently holding a higher low, which is good. We're above all those short-term EMAs and SMAs, so everything looks good there as well. And then similarly on the Dow, just slow bullish grinding price action. Momentum fading a little bit, but we did hold above that 392.44 level. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft, you can see we've had 3 bullish pushes in a row. Honestly, to me, that seems like we've probably culminated. 3 days in a row is usually the maximum that you see on these kind of pushes. You can see 3 days down, 3 days up. We have had runs where you get a couple, but really the push was 1, 2, 3, pull back in time, and then you get a slight push off of there, but then you get another pretty decent pullback in time on Microsoft. So 3 days in a row is usually when you start to see either pullbacks or pullbacks in time. So either way, probably expecting some sideways choppy, if not a little bit bearish price action. Trend resistance on Microsoft 463, and then Apple, this is an all-time high, closed on the high, so price discovery, who knows where we're going. We are still very overbought at 71.29, but we can remain overbought for a long period, and these have been overbought for a while already. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA, Tesla putting the entire market on its back. This has been a massive run. Once that 188.50 level broke here, it has run 30% in just a couple of days. So massive, massive move on Tesla. Back into those 250s, gapped right through the level, headed towards the next one, 255.44. Momentum RSI bullish, huge volume, everything's super strong there on Tesla. Talked about this consolidation, talked about the break there, and it has done very well. And then looking at NVIDIA, strong day here actually, 4.57%, got back above the level. Trend resistance up around that 131.82 area, probably going to head there. Momentum saw a step towards bullish, so that's good. RSI still trending down, so we'll see if we get a touch of that SMA and then what happens there. But right now, probably expecting a second day push. Moving over to staples and discretionaries, inside candle on staples, not showing much of anything. Still consolidative, still a low, which is lower than this previous. Momentum mixed, so sideways choppy markets. And then discretionaries, Tesla just continuing to drive this market massive, 0.64. The price target is 189.38 right now, and that is where we're headed in my opinion. Got a gap and go, probably going to push again here to that next level, and then hit overbought conditions, and then we'll see what happens after that. Moving over to oil and gold. Oil had another bullish day here, 1.29%, headed towards that $86 level. I think it's going to get there. This has been a really strong push. Clear breakout above this previous consolidation. We're finding hesitation here at the highest from the end of April, but I think we're going to get to this level here mid-April, which is that 86 area. And then gold, decent pop there, 1.13% coming off of that support level. I think this is probably headed towards that 225 area. We've rejected from here a few times, but seems interesting. Not a ton of volume yet. Momentum slightly bullish, so we'll see how that plays. Overall looks a little bit bullish going into that next trading session. Moving over to breadth, we did get a push on Tuesday. Wednesday was down a little bit. 50-day was actually still positive on the Wednesday, but 20 was not. So mixed on the signals. To me, this still looks like a weakness, so you can see this slow downtrending price action. You would expect a little bit more fall tomorrow, in my opinion. Similarly, here on the 50-day, just wicks to these EMAs. Momentum did get a step, so that's interesting. Step towards bullish, and maybe you see a little bit more swing here. But this is a zone of resistance right in this consolidation of EMAs at 47. Wicked to that level, and then did reject slightly. Probably going to fall back closer to that 40 area on that Friday session, so we'll see how it plays. Breadth not really giving us too clear of direction, but does look slightly bearish overall. Moving over to the dollar, that economic data and jobs data that we saw here today was very weak for markets. Again, you can see that pattern, 3 big bearish bars in a row before we start to see that pullback on the hourly chart. But look at that bear candle. 0.32% to the downside, took out my level 105.50, wicked my trend support. You can see it here, trend support, touch that level again. Momentum bearish, RSI bearish, so it looks like the dollar has broken down a little bit more. It is still within the trend, so structurally it's okay, but this seems much weaker now than it has before, especially with that momentum almost bearish on today's candle. So that should give equities a little bit of room to the upside. Moving over to yields, 2-year sold off, 10-year sold off a lot more. Still at my level. 4.35, that is an important level. Also the 200 sitting there, but momentum stepping to bearish. So see how that plays. Consolidation on the 2-year, no change there to the thesis. Maybe this is just another breakdown in this overall downtrend. It did look a lot stronger of a push up to that level, and you can see the momentum was stronger than this previous, so maybe we see a higher low setup here above this consolidation, and then we see a push. We'll see how that plays. That would make this a bull flag, and maybe we finally get back into normalized conditions on yields. Moving over to bonds, as you would expect, these jumped. J&K 0.23, TLT 1.31%, momentum back to bullish, gap rally, finished on the high. Looks like this is headed higher, back into this trending price action to the upside. Want to see a push above 92.82, then we can look for a push up into this 95 zone, but we'll see how it plays. Right now, strong push, should give us a little bit more room to the upside. Moving over to volatility, move index selling off, giving bonds more room to the upside, and then volatility, and then the VIX dojied on the day, nothing crazy, still bearish momentum, still at this low, so no new information there. Moving over to my accounts, you can see I did lose just a little bit of dollars here on my IRA. I rolled out to 203 on that strong up push that we saw on the IWM. Dollar credit there, still 40 cents left on it, so still trying to collect that for the 5th. And then you can see here for the Qs, I had a put going into the day, let that expire worthless. I did not sell one again here for the next expiration. I'm a little bit concerned at those upper ATRs. That's where you start to see either grinding price action or eventually that short-term pullback, which can take out a lot of that grinding price action. So I do have calls on. I still have my 485 for 2 days from now. I thought about rolling that out. I ended up not doing it. So I'm going to be patient here. We'll see how it plays on that Friday price action. Might see just a little bit of selling there there. And then I still have a 495. Overall, my lean is still bullish, but it's less bullish today than it was yesterday. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the last 2 days of bullishness. Can we continue to go straight up in 1% increments, or is this just a recipe for another bigger pullback? Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.